back to Psychic Tarot card reading. So this is a requested reading on President Trump. I'm going to look at well, what I hope the cards will show me. It's a speculative reading, but I hope that the cards will show me just perhaps about the coming trip and also the US elections. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, so for this coming state trip, what I'm saying, a lot of what I'm saying is pushback. Yeah, pushback. That's the foremost thing and most prominent thing and like heavy feeling that's coming up as a result of this trip. So lots of pushback. It's really just the normal, usual pushback that occurs wherever he goes someplace that, you know, in democratic countries. Yeah. Yeah, so the pushback is due, of course, I mean, what I'm saying is due to nefarious elements. Yeah, so I will preface this reading by saying I don't want people to put a label on me, conservative or whatsoever. The cards, when I do the cards, I try to keep my biases as much as possible out of the readings. So when I do the readings and I see the cards themselves will say, aside from my biases, some biases get confirmed, some biases might get discarded. It wouldn't matter. The cards would show, for example, that this particular thing is correct, or this particular thing, you know, is the right way to go, or this particular thing is wrong in light of the whole picture and whatsoever, like the truth, the actual truth, not what we believe to be the truth or what we want to be the truth. Yeah, so that's how I see it. So if I say something is good or something is bad, it wouldn't be because, you know, I have a particular political preference. It would be because that's what the cards are showing, that something is unjust and something is just. So what I'm saying is, these action, like this noise making, is incredibly nefarious in nature, incredibly nefarious, because all what he's trying to do is to tighten the relationship between the United Kingdom and the US. So yeah, essentially kind of like a castle, build things up, and especially because he has been on the phone, like in contact with the Queen, and he's particularly been, so what I'm noticing is that he's very averse to revealing secrets, certain types of secrets over the phone, because he knows that the phone lines get tapped, recorded, you know, by others. So as a result of that, he prefers saying things to people face to face, just sort of, you know, he prefers seeing them like in reality, face to face, before telling them. And he has a lot of things that he wants to say to the Queen about Theresa May. So in the previous reading, if you go in the playlist, I have several playlists. If you go in the playlist for the Brexit, the cards showed that about Theresa May, the way she was subtly trying to break down the relationship, the US-UK relationship, and trying to destroy that and erode that relationship. So this had happened over several months, and as a result of that, really, like, communication broke down. Yeah, it broke down. And what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying, guys. So Trump heard that the Queen wanted to know. So before they go to the meetings, you know, heads of states, before they attend these Buckingham Palace meetings, they get lists of what they should talk about. Yeah, because it's an honor, so they get lists of what they should talk about. And he got a list of what was to be talked about, and one of them was the Queen. That list being made by the monarchy. He got that list, and the list involves talking about the breakdown, really like the erosion between the Cold War between the United Kingdom and the United States. Just why has it happened? Why is there such a gap in the communications? Like, why is the conversation stilted between the United States and the United Kingdom? So he sees this trip very much as an avenue to put forward his case, to put forward his grievances. Yeah. So the reason why this is coming up, I'm explaining this, is because it's essentially a win for him, no matter the outcome of the trip. Just the very fact that he's able to take this trip and go and put forward his grievances about Theresa May, about the whole situation, that's a victory for him. Yeah, because that's the crux of the matter, because he's very capable, he's very able. So he wanted to put forward to this monarch, he wanted to put this forward so that she would know, so that she would be fully aware of how badly he has been horrendously treated by a supposedly ally. Yeah. So yeah. And Theresa May, she didn't expect her. She did not want this trip to be going ahead. Yeah. That's why she allowed so much criticism, of the president. That's why she allowed so much criticism of Trump, because she wanted him to stay. She wanted it to be stilted and then potentially cancelled. Yeah. Because she has enabled a lot of things to be cancelled before, through her actions and inactions. So her inaction in silencing the criticisms about him or about his trip, her inaction in doing that, especially silencing the ministers, in parliament, it's all a process of her trying to silence him, trying to distance him from the Queen. Trying to distance from the Queen, because she knows. There's so many things that they know that we don't know, the public does not know. She knows that that's how he operates. He prefers to tell people things face to face rather than over the phone. So she knew that a face-to-face meeting with the Queen or with the monarch should be stopped at all costs. Yeah. And so that's what she had been aiming to do, but she did not anticipate being pushed out. She didn't anticipate it. Yeah. So she had a lot of tricks up her sleeves, which he is going to push out. He didn't know all these tricks, but it's kind of like a puzzle. The Queen knows a lot of. She gets a lot of intelligence. Information. She's gotten a lot of information, but there's the other side to it that she's not conscious of. The way Theresa May has reacted to or has treated Trump. So when him coming in now and positing to the Queen, okay, this and these actions are the actions that she took, Theresa May took, with regards to the USA. Once he does that, the Queen will put 2 and 2 together. From the intelligence from what he tells her and the intelligence that she has gotten, she will put 2 and 2 together, because she knows that the information that she has gotten, there's no way that Trump could have gotten that information. So based on what he comes to now, complement the information that she has received, she gets confirmation that, okay, this is what has taken place, and I'm going to do something about it. Yeah. So I do see, again, I've spoken about it in the previous readings, lots of things, Theresa May being exposed. Yeah. So her exposure really being something to marvel about. A lot of it will take place in private. I have to say, a lot of it will take place in private. So I do talk a lot about it, but a lot of it will take place in private. But it really will make her a pariah, just an outcast in these circles. Yeah, because just yeah, because of everything that she's done. Yeah, so I just have to repeat him. Even the trip being scheduled is already a winning. It's a winning streak for him. Yeah, yeah, that's how he views it. That's how it is essentially, because there's really nothing to be gained from. I mean, otherwise, he's very business oriented. That's, you know, part of his strategy. He could do an enormous amount of business even without going through the queen. A lot of people and a lot of heads of states who do not have that business acumen, they would need to see the queen. You know, they would need to be scheduled around those sorts of meetings in order to increase the prestige, you know, being with the royal family, in order to be able to push forward trade deals and gain some weight in trade deals. But he does not need that. He hasn't needed that ever since being a businessman. So this meeting the queen is not so important as far as presidents go, you know, and state visits, but it is important, really, like his sole absolute sole reason why he'll be so overjoyed with this trip is it's already happened. The fact that it has been scheduled, because that's really what he wanted to say. Yeah, I mean, speaking with the queen and letting her know what has been taking place. Yeah. Yeah, so again, you know, I'm repeating it, but it keeps coming up. Secrets being revealed. Okay, I'm going to move on. So I want to look at the US elections. What I'm saying is very much the same, like a repeat of the 2016 elections. Yeah. attacks. Yeah. But instead, people's spirits being strengthened rather than broken. People's spirits being strengthened. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be just as fiery, like, yeah. So that's the gist of the elections. The US elections is going to be just as fiery. I think you can see the color, just as fiery as the 2016 ones. Yeah. I will keep updating the readings on the US elections the closer we get to it, or, you know, depending on the requests that I get. Yeah, but I do see him winning again. Yeah, but it's going to be a very stilted victory. Like very much like honestly, it's really like parallels. It's parallel to the 2016 elections. Yeah. But what I'm sensing, it does not have to be. So really, it's like, it's parallel to the 2016 elections, but only so far as the American people want it to be, would require it to be. What I mean by that is, it's that, like, certain that it's going to be parallel to the 2016 elections, but that's a reality. That's on in reality, but it can be changed. Like, reality can be changed, but this reality I'm seeing is because of taking into account the present circumstances and the most likely future circumstances. The American people, they still haven't woken up. Yeah, they still have not. They are still under the impression that, this is what I'm seeing from the cards, they're still under the impression that you know, the conflict, the social conflict being engineered is accidental, or, you know, that the other side does not know what they're doing. And I'm speaking of the side that brings out the most violence, the most conflict. They're still under the impression that they do not know what they're doing, that it's accidental. They allow these thoughts to filter into their head rather than rejecting them outright and facing reality, facing the truth. Like, yeah, facing things as they are, facing things as they are. So that's what I'm saying. They have not yet woken up. It's very much like in the readings that I did of Brexit, one of them showed, you know, the UK people. This was before they had woken up, before the MPs took the vote, which then angered the people of Great Britain. But prior to that, they had also been asleep. They had been asleep, and they had been thinking that the MPs were actually trying the hardest, trying to do the best thing for the people of the country. That's what they had been thinking. That's what they had been kind of deceiving themselves. Yeah. And into thinking. And so this is what I see, like a veil, you know, on the American people, and those who want changes. And so this veil is covering their eyes, and it's preventing them from seeing that you need to come. Yes, unity would be preferable, but above unity is the truth, or should be the truth, because unless you have the truth, unity will tear you apart like ravenous. It will tear you like a lion, a tiger tearing a panther, tearing someone apart. It will tear you apart. Yeah, if you decide to place anything really, but unity, the unity, because what I'm saying is that this veil covering their eyes is unity, but it's a very, very false sense of unity. It's a very false sense of unity. It's more like you deceive yourself, or you lull yourself into a false sense of unity. You're trying to gather, essentially, you are the prey, and you're trying to gather around your attackers, like the people who want to eat you, the people who want to eat you up. You're trying to gather them. You're trying to gather them around you to be unified. It's never going to work, because as time goes on, like from, you know, henceforth and into the elections and beyond, into the elections, I beg your pardon, it's going to, as time goes on, the separation between unity and the truth, it grows wider. Yeah, it grows wider. The differences, like, dichotomy, I don't know, but it grows wider. As it grows wider over time, and this is not, of course, it's because of everyone's doing, so it's not just the one, it's many people's actions that cause this, but it's so certain that it is it is the truth. So I hope this makes sense. Because of people's actions, like, it's inevitable, people's inevitable actions. Yes, they have free choice, but yeah, they've decided to do these actions, so it's inevitable. These actions then lead to, over time, unity and truth become more and more separate. Yeah, over time. So now these people, the people who cause the least amount of violence, and that's how I have to describe them, because like what I'm seeing from the cards is like lots of violence, hotspots, and almost like a deadly silence on the other side. So there's one side that keeps like bringing hotspots, and this is aside from political affiliation for me, I mean, being the reader. So this is what I see: hotspots. So one side kind of like fanning the flames, and moving ever ahead, like, and they keep fanning the flames, and they keep fanning the flames. And you've got the other side who are silent, like a deadly silence, and they lash out every once in a while. When they lash out, they are effective, but then they withdraw and they try to call for unity. They need to realize, they will need to come to the point where they recognize that unity is impossible if the truth is not championed. Yeah. If the truth is not championed, unity will become impossible. Yeah. So, but they're not there yet. It's almost like, again, lots and lots of things will need to happen to jar them, to cause them, to shake them out of their sleep, to shake them out of their deceit, this self-deceit. Yeah. So that's why it would still end up being like the 2016 elections, because you can't be friendly with people who want to devour you. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm like the cards. You can't. It's, forget impossibility. It's literally the meaning of impossible. You cannot bring together people who want to devour you. It's just not possible. So long as, and this really, what I'm saying is, aside from political affiliation, even if you're an independent and you see that there's a particular group of people, even if they don't put labels on themselves, but they constantly stir up hatred, they constantly stir up strife and hotspots, and it's just like the country cannot rest. It cannot rest because these people are constantly just, almost like planting explosive devices, but in the spirit realm, like verbally they plant verbal explosives. They plant them, waiting to detonate those explosives at the opportune time. Yeah, and that's what is happening at the moment. So if you do not realize that, even if you're an independent, even if you're an independent, you don't subscribe to any party, you have to come, because you're within that country, you're within that space, you have to come to the point where you yourself acknowledges that, wait, this is not right. Yeah, you can't abandon that moral duty to people who identify with a certain party. You cannot, no matter which side of the political divide you are, no matter where you come from, you have to recognize that, is this morally right? Is it right? Is it not? If it's not, then why am I being silent, or why am I still calling for unity when I can see that time after time, ever since the beyond the elections, there have been hotspot after hotspot, and now it's like explosives, and as far as I can see, and lots of people can see it. They might deny it, but they can see it. You can see it's not about to be stopped. So if I can see that it's not about to be stopped, then why am I staying silent? Yeah. So that's for every individual to come to the knowledge, like to the realization of, and decide which side they're going to take. Calling for unity will not yield any results. Yeah. And I have to emphasize that it will not yield any results whatsoever. Like, this is what I'm saying. It'll be like as flimsy as a paper, like a single paper flying in the wind. Like, it will not yield any results. Yeah, it will not yield any. It will fall on deaf ears. It will fall on ears that are asleep, because no action. Instead of action, it's just going to be people sleeping. Like, because that is just a matter of fact that unity without the truth, as time goes on, is just going to yield to more disunity and more pain and more hurt. And what I'm saying is, it's far less physical hurt, but it's a lot more emotional hurt, emotional, almost like emotional destruction. Yeah, emotional destruction, to the point where after the elections, people are going to need post-traumatic stress disorder like sessions, PTSD sessions. Yeah. And I don't mean because of overreaction or because just anything like that, no, but because it's literally, that's how horrific it's going to be. Yeah, that's how horrific it's going to be. Yeah. So what I am seeing, like, at the moment, in anticipation for the elections, lots of people are placing and this is both influential people and not influential people, but they're placing explosives. And when I say explosives, it's, when you place explosives and it detonates after some time, after a short time or a long time, whenever you detonate it, these are verbal explosives. They know what they're doing. And this is what I want, to any American watchers, no matter which side of the political aisle you're on, please be polite, otherwise I would have to block you. These explosives being planted, what I'd like you to know, what the cards are showing, it's on purpose, it's deliberate. You cannot accidentally set off a rocket launch. You can't. In order to set off a rocket launch, you would have to press not just one button, several buttons. And even prior to that, you would have to enter into the room. And to enter into, so there are so many steps before you get to that point of being like an emotional and a verbal agitator. Before you get to that point, you would have had to go through several mental and emotional and psychological hurdles before getting to that point. So it is not accidental, it is deliberate. If you think of, like, this is the course of the United States, or this is the course of the United States, and this is where they want to take it. So it is not accidental. They deliberately do not want to go the straight path. They want to take it, sideways. Unless, if you do not come to that realization that agitators, verbal, political agitators, who use verbal means and emotional means to cause emotional damage, unless you come to that realization, you will end up suffering as well. Yeah, it's not something that you can escape. You might try to escape it and abdicate of the moral responsibility, but it will be square in your face. For the royal readings, for the Brexit readings, I've tended to say at times, try to keep it away so as not to get stressed, because the papers will be full of it, all these things. But for the US elections, it's going to come to you. Yeah, it will. And time again, you're going to be confronted with having to make a moral decision. Am I going to stay quiet? Am I going to act? If I'm going to act, which side am I going to pick? Am I going to pick the silent, dangerous one, so abiding the time and waiting for some kind of, some kind of sign, in order to finally realize that this is not a game, this is reality, and we need to take the country, we need to take charge of the country? Am I going to side with those people and wait? Or, which would be the disastrous thing to do, sometimes you shouldn't wait, because it yields to even more damage, irreparable damage. Or, will I side with these agitators, political agitators, who do not want to find a middle ground? Not only do they not want to find a middle ground, but they're so above normality. And when I say normality, I don't mean by standards, everyday standards. I mean by American standards. These are the American, it's a reading on America. American standards. These people are so far above it that they do not want to reason. in fact, what I'm seeing in the spirit realm is like they're circling above America, like they circle above it, looking at what point to launch their missile. Yeah, yeah. So that's essentially it. It will be a repetition of the 2016 election. Yeah, yeah. As far as I can see, but if anything comes up, like if I see anything in the papers, and I get, like from this in the spirit realm, I get from the cards that okay, the minds of the American people is them their minds are starting to change, then I'll do a reading. And when I say American people, I mean not the people inside the country, but those outside, the, I guess, expats, and people, yeah, expats and people who are Americans but who are outside of America. Those are the people that I'm like seeing the most. Yeah, yeah. Their minds needing to be changed. Oh, not their minds, them needing to change their minds. Yeah, it's very much they need to take responsibility. They need to change their minds. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I do see Trump winning. I do see him winning. I do. Um Again, I'm gonna do revised, readings and just go back and see if the cards keep repeating the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do see a lot of emotional damage, a lot casualties. Yeah, casualties coming from the elections. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think I lost my train of thought earlier on, but I was saying these people, they are presently planting, and I'm sure, well, you might be able to spot it if you're being alert right now. You'll be able to spot it. They're planting emotional explosives to detonate at a later time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These individuals. Yeah, kind of like, okay, like this card shows. I think hopefully you can see the color. They're there when they speak, but you can see the background. The background is quite fiery, kind of like red, orangey fiery. They speak, but then it's not just words. They have a background agenda, and the background agenda is fiery. It's to light things up, to light something up, at a later time. So like it very much like it, to detonate, like, yeah, an explosive to detonate. So yeah, uh verbal explosives is what I'm getting. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it very much feels like the US is in limbo. It's in limbo. Yeah. Not economically. Economically, I have to say, it's kind of like a golden age. This is the color coming up, a golden age. But the heart of it, it's sick. It's sick. It's sick. It's like a mental patient. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The whole of it, the whole of America, like the essence. That's what I'm saying. Just the people refusing to take responsibility. Yeah, that's what's blocking me. Like that's what's blocking me from saying so many excuses, so many excuses, so many excuses. Yeah, so many excuses. The reason this matters, I mean, it's kind of like when I do readings on the political affairs and then I go into reading about someone's character or someone's personality, because it's not abstract, it matters, it's related. So, the characters of individuals, people, Americans, it's related to this sick, just America being sick. It's sick. Yeah, yeah. Like things being turned on their head. Yeah. So yeah, I think I will be doing revised readings just to get more specifics, because at the moment I'm getting quite broad things, but I get the feeling I might get specifics like later on when I do more readings. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the blockage. What I'm getting. I've said it before. Once again, the divine intervening in the affairs of men, because this is a period of justice. It's a period of justice. Lots of people do not like justice. They don't appreciate justice simply because we've gone on for so long without elements of justice dominating our lives that we tend to feel as though any amount of justice is unjust. So what I'm seeing here is the divine intervening and lots of people making excuses, like just people that are being used in order to, okay, you want unity, here is the truth. The truth is the fastest pathway to achieving unity. So okay, sure, even if you don't want the truth, here is the unity you've asked for. But the unity, I accept that it's your goal to have unity. I'm not discarding that. Forget the truth being your goal. The unity that you want, that is your goal. I accept that. But here is the truth, because the truth, the unity cannot be achieved without the truth. So here's the truth, but your goal is unity. Run with it. And they drop the ball time and time and time and time and time again. They drop the ball and they bring up excuses as to why the truth cannot be used, as to why it's not important, as to why it doesn't have a purpose. So essentially, sort of like, I'd rather have the truth. I'd rather have discard. I'd rather discard the truth than accept the truth in order to have unity. Yeah, that's essentially it. And that's what really, because I'm getting from the cards, it's like people who, because America is a very Christian nation, and what I'm getting is like you pray. Okay, these are the answers being brought to you by the angels, like supernatural. They are bringing the answers to you. Do you want the answers or not? Because each time we bring the answers to you, you reject them. Like, here's a truth. Here's something, and I've revealed something to you about a particular person, about a particular institution, run with it. This exposure, I've exposed them for you to run with it. Why are you not running with it? And time and time again, these individuals, i.e. Americans, they would make excuses like, no, we need unity. If I bring this out, it's going to cause disunity. I don't want that. So it's not due to fear. It isn't due to fear. It's not because they feel, oh, nobody will run with me in carrying the truth. It's just really excuses, almost like a lazy person having an excuse, bringing up excuses as to why they should not work. Laziness. It's laziness rather than fear that is motivating these people. So what I'm saying is kind of like the angels being exasperated, just sort of, do you want the truth or not? Well, it seems as though you don't want the truth. So let these elections be another, let these elections 2020 elections, let them be another lesson to you. Let it be another lesson to you. And if you still refuse to learn, then you're still going to end up carrying the burdens anyway that you're trying to get rid of. And I'm seeing that in the future, I'm still seeing this unwillingness to shake off the excuses, like the power of excuses, like across the board. This is across the board. It's just from what I'm reading, it's like you see something wrong, things are going wrong, one side, and this is not, it's not again, it's nothing to do with political party. You see people constantly verbal assaults. You constantly see it. Attack. You constantly see it. Why don't you retaliate? Why don't you because you have the truth, you know it, you know what to do. Why don't you retaliate? Because if you appease people who keep attacking, people who keep charging forward and attacking and creating hotspots, eventually you keep appeasing them. It's kind of like, a volcano that in itself has threatened or has promised never to stop flowing. Eventually it's going to end up destroying the town. In natural circumstances, physical volcanoes, eventually they stop. But these human beings, being that what I'm seeing, in the spirit realm, like they're literally volcanoes. These not literally, sorry, I mean like virtually volcanoes. They have promised never to stop. They mean it. They will not stop. So why don't you stop them? Because otherwise the lava is going to flow through, and it will flow through and it will destroy you. It will destroy your enemies. It will destroy every single last one of you. So why don't you do something and intervene? So this is what I'm saying. It's really like, the truth, but you're distancing yourself from the truth, and you time is against you, because as time goes on, these things increase, and of course, as the lava flows, it draws ever closer to destroying you. So you can't even, it's not even a question of, okay, well, let me do that in 3 years time, or it's not going to get worse, or just, it's a matter of time. It will get worse as time goes on. So you are racing against the clock. You're racing against the clock. So this is what I'm saying, like the angels being exasperated, like becoming. They were not like that at first, but really it's just, the sentiment that's coming through. Why are you allowing this to happen? Why are you appeasing? You know your history. You know what tends to happen when you appease violence. You know what happens. So why are you not acting? And in trying to maintain the peace, you end up silencing the truth and truth speakers and truth tellers, and as a result you end up punishing yourself anyway, because truth speakers, they get protected. I mean, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent, but this is what's coming through from the cards. Truth speakers get protected. they do get protected, because when you reach out for the truth, you're comfortable even when things don't go your way. You're comfortable in the knowledge that you've done everything you can, so your conscience is at ease and you're less bothered. So this is why the cards are talking about emotional damage. People who refuse to accept the truth, they are the ones who will be the most emotionally damaged. Yeah. And they will they'll receive the most emotional damage. Yeah. So it's not even something that you can escape. It's not something that you can push the responsibility onto someone else, because it's to do with the conscience. Everyone has a conscience. That conscience is what is going to be at play. Yeah. It was at play in the 2016 elections. It will be at play in future elections, not just this one. And nothing to do with Trump. It's going to be at play for future elections. Yeah. And the reason why this matters is because so I know I'm doing a US reading, but US influences, like, it's like the US is a template for the rest of the world. Yeah. Please don't get offended, if you're from Turkey or anywhere else. It's literally like it or not, people do look up to the US, largely due to the freedom, because the human self always wants to be free. So it's because of the freedom that people look up to. So it's not so much to do with the culture or anything, but freedom. Yeah, freedom. And the freedom is being infringed upon in the United States. Yeah. So I do see the US losing its relevance. But it's going to be temporary. Yeah. It's going to be temporary, but like I said, temporary. But when it regains its relevance, it's not when it regains its relevance, it's not going to regain its relevance because of anything that the people have done. It's simply because of people looking to the US and saying to themselves, okay, and thinking to themselves, this was once a great nation, and this is still something we can look up to. Yeah. So, like I said, this has nothing to do with Trump. It's something that it is going to go beyond 2020, 2024, beyond that. It's the cause of America. And it's largely to do with the inability of its people to grasp the truth. Yeah, to grasp the truth. And essentially, grasp the truth. So I hope that made sense. It's a lot of what I didn't expect to talk about. Obviously, that's not what I thought was going to come out. But yeah, essentially, it's very much like I'm feeling a depression. Yeah, it's very much like a depression, because that's the general mood. So I'm not saying, again, some people, especially newbies who come on the channel and who watch the readings, they feel as though, they see things just like black and white. No, it's not like that, but it's largely the mood. It's largely going to be the mood. That's the mood. You can sense something heavy, or you can sense something not quite right, off kilter. Things are not as they should be. That kind of feeling. And it's precisely because everyone is turning away. Like, people are turning their eyes from the truth. Everyone is turning their eyes from the truth. Yeah. Yeah, so that will be the biggest challenge. In fact, the biggest challenge will not be the elections. It will be what takes place in these elections, and not just the presidential elections, but like councillor elections, and elections for governors and things like that. Yeah. Leadership position, even in universities. Positions for, to be a university chancellor, position to be a head teacher, position to be a swimming instructor, a swimming teacher, all these things, it will filter through. So it isn't even to do with the presidential elections. It's nothing to do with that. It's this atmosphere of you've prayed, you pray. What do you want? What do you want? Yeah, so it's a time of indecision. Yeah, in the history of America, indecision. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do further readings later on, not today, but over time, just to see if anything changes, and just other things as well, and perhaps more specific events and people. But that's the general theme of things. Yeah, that's the general theme of things. So for those who might have questions like, will this person win the election, or will this person win the race for governor or anything like that, the primary theme that should be focused on is like, have they won on the merit of gunning for the truth, and or have they won on the merit of, let's call for unity without putting emphasis on the truth. Yeah, and if it's the latter, then the win is not a win for America. If it's the former, then it is a win for America. Yeah. So back to what I was saying, it's not about political affiliation, it's about the truth versus unity. Yeah. The truth can work with unity, but if it comes to that, the truth has to be discarded for unity to make way, then no, it cannot work. It cannot work. Yeah, it cannot work. Yeah, so I'm going to stop the reading here. Thank you all for watching. I think it's gone on for long enough. And yeah, like I said, I will try to make videos later on at a later date. So thank you all. Bye.